We're going to give you the questions and the answers before you take the test. That's what it is. It's something that up till today I still accuse my daughter of before the ACTs. There is no way she could have had a perfect score unless she cheated. Right? Maybe she sat next to a Chinese kid or something. I don't know. I can say that because I scanned the room. There is no Chinese people. But point is, that's what MWR Fundable 360 does. We know the questions and we know the answers. So if we gave that all to you, if every one of you tomorrow had to go get an exam, and you know anybody can pass the bar at this point, right? Right? The standard is super low, especially in Houston. But here's the reality. Here's the reality. If you knew all the questions and the answers, who would have a little bit more confidence going up and taking the bar exam in a week? If you knew all the answers to questions. That's kind of what it is. The fear and the reason for the respect that they get is the preparation they have to do, unknowingly the anticipation of whatever they're going to ask, I need to be able to answer. Right? So we give them the respect for knowing that they know more than they were ever tested on. And that's what I'm paying for. When I pay for legal advice, I'm paying for things that he knows, not things that a test said he passed or didn't pass. Okay? So that's what we're talking about today. So that's what we do, and we do it for startups. So if you have an EIN that you haven't even set up yet, we have a client in the room that has a brand new EIN, and she's just started the process and is already seeing results. So I'm not making this stuff up. I actually have clients in the room that a month ago were not clients. Okay? So if you have an EIN that's 2 weeks old or 20 years old, it doesn't matter. Why? Algorithm driven. I can be a brand new 16-year-old sitting in my mother's basement tonight and have more followers on YouTube than Kylie Jenner if I knew how to crack the code. It happens. So the same thing with business. If you have 20 years, then you have different opportunities. If you have 2 weeks, you're still in the game. We just have to figure out what the rules are and how to win it. And we have the answers to that, okay? So, my team, it's a done with you program. This is not a, you pay us and then like, you go figure it out. Someone holds your hand every single day through the process. Elizabeth, am I making this up?
No, you're not.
Does the concierge call you several times a week just to check in?
They do, sometimes a little too much.
Sometimes a little too much, right? Imagine that. Imagine over customer service. Yeah? Try calling Amazon tomorrow and see if you can get through to somebody. Right? Call Walmart if you have a return and see if they pick up the phone. Call an airline to see if you want to change your flight. It just doesn't happen. We do it all the time. So, who can qualify? Almost any business can qualify. You need these things. You need an EIN. If you don't have one, it takes a day to set it up. An EIN tells me you are no longer a person, you are now a business. Now we can play. Because let me tell you what we don't need. We don't need owner's personal credit information. You can be a FICO felon, you could have a 500 score. You could have a 500 score, and it wouldn't matter. Because we don't look at the owner's information, we're only looking at the business. So you need an EIN, you need a business bank account. Why is that? Why would you need a business bank account? Because we need to create separation from business from personal. So the more identity we have as a business, the deeper the footprint that shows you're a business. So the bank stops looking at you as a person and looks at you as an entity. So it's a strategy, right? Ideally, you want to let the banks know that if you look like a duck and you walk like a duck, you're probably a duck, right? So we need to create footprints for that. A website, professional email address that's not Yahoo or Gmail. You'd be surprised if it seems basic. Well, no, we sometimes face resistance from our clients. Oh, I like Gmail, I like it too. But if the bank wants to lend me money, I'll stand on one foot if I have to. So we need a j@imsoawesome.com, right? That's what we need. That's what the banks need to see, because then they know that Jay's not a person, he's a business. Okay? We need a mailing address that's not a residence. Why is that? Separation. We need to show the duck, right? Okay? What's not required? Interestingly enough, remember how we talked about everybody was conditioned for performance? And we think the more we perform, the better we perform, the more we organize, the better our chances? None of that matters. It pissed me, can I say that? Because Houston's all holy, right? Pissed me off when I realized that none of these things mattered. Because for years, we worked on this, thinking that at one point we'll get invited to the party. And then we stand outside a club, right? You know, and then you see people just kind of getting through the bouncers, and you're like, what the hell's going on? You kind of sniff yourself a little bit, right? And you're like, wait a second. It's because they knew how to crack the code. But we're working on performance. This kind of feels good, this texture. It really does. Before you guys leave, come feel it. It's like soft. It's nice, right? So that's bizarre. But anyway, that's what we're doing. Are you guys still with me so far?
Yes.
Yeah. So then we have some optional programs. Really cool stuff. So everything I just described, MWR Fundable 360 does is that. We guarantee, listen to that word, we guarantee that if you enroll in the program, let our technology take over and manage your algorithms. In our dashboard, we communicate in real time with Dun & Bradstreet, Experian, and Equifax for Business. We also communicate in real time with over 100 banks that we have delegate underwriting access with. Delegate underwriting access means if we approve them, they're approved. We've been given unconditional permissions to underwrite. So it's all handled in-house. So one dashboard gives you line of sight to everything you need. For how long? Ever. Which means you never have to restart and start when you need to do something. Because I'm going to ask you this as a business owner, all of you in this room are. If you needed money today, would there be an opportunity where you'll need money again in the future for more stuff?
Yeah.
So if you never have to start over, and you could have your profiles evolve within an ecosystem, how awesome is that?
Awesome.
Very awesome.
Like round of applause awesome? Or
Yes.
We guarantee success. 100%, listen when I say this, 100% of the businesses that enroll in our program receive corporate credit. 100%. Now you came in late, so you don't get to ask any questions. Okay? You didn't bring drinks, nothing, just showed up late, like all awesome and stuff. I'm just kidding. Yeah. What's your name, sir? What's your name, sir? Sid. Sid? Sid. Nice to meet you, Sid. I'm Butch. Yeah. I'm actually pretty nice. Yeah. But 100% receive corporate credit. That's a pretty bold claim. Yes?
DNA tests are not even 100%.
I know.
So how can you?
We're just better.
You're just
Better.
Just like that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's always one in the room. You notice that? Yeah. Yeah, you and Sid can leave. I'm just kidding. So, no, but you're absolutely right. Now, and that's true. When will it not be 100%? I'm going to tell you now. And you're right. It's a done with you program. We're dealing with finances. So if Jay's a business owner, we can only do so much, but we need Jay involved because we cannot transact for him. Make sense? He needs to transact, and then we manipulate and massage those transactions to boost his credit profile so he gets qualified for corporate funding. But if he doesn't make those transactions that we tell him to go transact, we cannot succeed. So you're absolutely right. There's a factor where we have what's called unresponsive business owners. And then we make 2 phone calls, someone shows up at our house, beats them with a stick, and then they get back into action, right? But the reality is it's a done with you program. So, because I cannot transact for Jay, right? I need him to certain times say, Jay, I need to go into Chase and I need to pay your bill because I needed to report to Dun & Bradstreet. He needs to go do that. That's just the reality. It's a done with you program. Okay? So, but here's the cool thing. We've got some additional programs that we just introduced that are just so powerful, it's not even funny anymore. We're changing the rules. 0% for 12 to 18 months. These are the requirements. Notice, Where does it say here, balance sheets, P&Ls, sales, receipts, bank statements? Where is that list? This is the entire list, by the way, for underwriting. Issued to a company, does not report to personal. 660, for this particular program. For that program, the guaranteed program, 500, you don't even need a FICO, you need a pulse. As long as you're alive, you get proof. But for the accelerated program, the hybrid program, which is an option, no previous bankruptcy, no more than 4 hard pulls, excluding home and cars, 660 FICO, and you get a couple of $100,000 at 0% for almost up to 2 years.
Wow.
Quick question.
Yes,
You said excluding home and cars.
right.
Even if it's like investment houses
You
that
can
you buy?
buy 12 properties from Kira and none of it will count.
What
As long
is-
as it's real estate.
What does it mean,
But you must buy it from Kira. Yeah.
what does it mean, hard pulls?
A hard pull is when an entity does a hard pull on your credit. So that means you are applying for funding somewhere else.
Okay.
That could be a Macy's card,
Yeah,
that's a
yeah,
hard pull,
Got it.
okay? Yeah, go ahead.
So when you say bankruptcy, that's for the business, or is it anything dealing with personal, because you are excluding?
So for this program right here, they will verify, because it's an accelerated program, this entire program, start to finish is 3 weeks. So you start, 3 weeks later, 200,000.
But is your personal?
The owner's information is what they verify, because
So
they're,
if the owner had a bankruptcy and the business
they don't
did
qualify
not,
for this program, they qualify for that one. Everybody qualifies for that one. This one here is just like an add-on for certain people that fit this profile. okay?
Question, can
Yes.
this be a partnership? Let's say if I have an EIN and a LLC,
Yes.
but I would like to partner with someone that's more seasoned in the field, is that valid?
Who thinks she's got a cooler accent than me? I do.
Nobody.
The answer is yes, and here's the beauty, and to go back to your original question as well, it doesn't have to be the owner, it's whoever the owner nominates as an appointee for the
so they
application.
get more certain.
Okay,
Wow.
great.
So they're only using that score just
As a nominee,
as an omni, but, is it a PG on that?
there's no PG on this, it's only reported to the business,
Okay.
it's only reported to the business, does not report to personal. The PG will kick in if they default on this program,
So that's why they checked this.
correct? But if you don't default, no reporting, no nothing, no bearing on that, okay? We see so many business owners, because the reality is, if you're an entrepreneur, sometimes you have leverage credit, we understand that. But then they pull in mom, or they pull in Uncle Bob, who's like 70 years old, and they use his profile for all of this. And it goes through in 3 weeks, $200,000, 0% interest, and then they take it, they give it to Kara, and they buy all this real estate, because they can flip it inside of 2 years and pay it back at 0%. Yes?
So what's the
payback structure like? What's the catch?
Just like if you bought a refrigerator at Best Buy at 0%, you can make payments on it, right? And then it will just reduce your principal that you took out, and whatever you didn't pay by the time the 18 months is over, and interest will kick in for that.
And what, do you know?
Whatever the market is offering at the time. Yeah, yeah. So, go ahead.
What is the fees applied on this second program?
The second program?
Yes.
So the interest rate is 0, and sometimes the banks are going to charge between a 7 and 8% distribution fee. So let's just say I'm borrowing $200,000. Right at distribution, the bank, let's just make it math simple, 10%. The bank is going to take $20,000 back and give you 180. But on that 180 is at 0%. Sorry, on the 200 is at 0%. So who does this work for? It works for anyone who is looking for fast access to cash, don't want to do hard money loans, they have a real estate opportunity and that they know they can flip quick and quickly capture that 10%. That 10%, by the way, is also an expense, which is deductible. You didn't mention tax attorney. Did you do that too?
No, I'm not tax attorney.
Okay.
No, that's a great option, especially for people that are looking at hard money loans.
All day long.
What are the interest rates on the regular program? Rate wise?
So we look every morning, and we work with Chase, US Bank, Wells Fargo, top tier banks inside our system. And this morning it's anywhere between 6 to 13% on the credit lines. Yeah. So very, very competitive programs there as well. Any questions so far? Go ahead.
So in hybrid, is it stackable or is it?
Stackable. Yeah.
What is that? So on the fees applied, for sure it's 10%, or there's something that we still need to negotiate the fee to get the loan?
Between 8 and 9%, I'll just use 10 for easy math.
So normally between 9 and 10, that you pay that from, they take it before they release your money?
You don't pay it up, yeah, absolutely. On the hybrid program, yes. But the hybrid program,
And you have up to 18 months to pay the money back before they keep the interest rate.
before they convert it. Here's why it works in your favor, and I'll answer your question in a second. What's stackable? Stackable is when they combine 4 simultaneous banks to do like 50 grand at a time, right? Because it's easier to create 4 banks simultaneously to do 50 than for one guy to do 200. And they line it up for you that way, okay? So let me tell you another utilization for this. I lost my thought. Ask me your question again.
My question is, like, it's normally you say between 9 and 10% that
Correct.
they will take it before they release the 200,000, you will get only
Correct.
180, and then after 18 months, you will start paying interest if you do not pay the full.
Correct, but here's the beauty of this. The activity of this is on the EIN, which means it's actually showing positive repayment history that's driving your algorithm on the traditional program. So by the time the 18 months is up, you have so much activity that's reportable because you have this business loan that your traditional programs would start throwing you 200, 300, 500, a million, 1.5 because your scores now are so high that you qualify for all the traditional programs.
Wow.
It's a unique algorithm mix right there, okay? So remember, I want us to understand and not narrow our focus to what we think we need it for. Just understand that in an evening like this, we're having a conversation about 1 or 2 situations. That's 50 models available, right? We'd be here till Tuesday if we wanted to do that. And again, I have nowhere to be, so if you guys want to stick around, we can max it out till Tuesday, okay? So let's talk about the Fundable 6, what we do, right? FinTech, in-house concierge team, which means my staff works for you, no premiums or rates. What does that mean? That means that everything that we do is exactly what that bank is doing for its own clients. Let me tell you why this is important. Because what's your name, ma'am?
Andrea.
Andrea?
Yes.
And you, sir?
Cameron.
Cameron? You guys coincidentally just wore the same stuff, or you guys know each other?
Husband and wife and in business together.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So and I knew that, right? So let's just say this. Let's just say that for the last 10 years, they've banked with Chase. That's just who they open their account with, and they do everything with Chase. So now, naturally, they're looking for an SBA or an expansion, they want to buy a franchise. Who are they going to first? Chase. You have a history with them. You think that somehow that could mean something, right? So you walk into Chase and you say, hey, I'm trying to buy a franchise, or I'm trying to expand, or I want to buy an NIA opportunity, whatever the case might be. And Chase says, no, because you don't fit their box. And you walk away thinking, if Chase said no, what chance do I have anywhere else? The advantage of working within a 100-bank structure, if you have there's banks that have funded deals for us in Texas, California, and Oregon that are based in Ohio that have no branches anywhere else. Names that I couldn't pronounce. But they're looking for niche businesses that they want to participate with. So that's the beauty of that. No premiums on rates. So if it is Chase that gives her a loan through our system, it would be exactly the same rate as though she had walked into Chase as a member and got those rates as well. There's no, if you went directly to Chase, it's 7%, with us it's 12. It's 7. Okay, this is how that works. Continuous new lines without reapplying. We're talking about evolving ecosystems. So within the ecosystem, you just keep getting better and better and better. You never have to reapply. Perpetual funding options. How does that work? Remember, banks are in the business of what? Giving you money. So here's how our ecosystem works. Within our community, banks can see everything that's going on. So Jay has an account with us, through us, and he's making payments to U.S. Bank on a loan. And Chase is watching that and go, you know what? He hasn't missed a payment in 9 months. How much does he owe U.S. Bank? $150,000. Let's make him an offer for $250,000. So he can pay off U.S. Bank, and now he can become our customer. And then Wells is watching this. 8 months later, hey Jay, Wells wants to offer you $400,000. Here's the beauty of our system. Jay can park that approval for later use. Which means he can decide, in the back of his mind, he knows that's $400,000 already approved in there. 6 weeks later, he meets Kara, sees an opportunity to be a part of a strip mall owner, buying a street, $198,000, and he knows, you know what? All I have to do is go back, click a button, say approve, accept, and he's approved. Think about the power that does, and it gives you as a business owner. Because who in this room, and I'm buying drinks, if anybody would stand up with this offer, who in this room has never sat across somebody with an opportunity of a lifetime and just didn't have the resources to act on it right then? Right? Many times. So what happens now, we can put power back to the people, give you pre-approvals that you can park. That's pretty exceptional. Optional add-ons, right, hybrid? You guys know what a DCSR is?
Debt service coverage ratio.
Right. So it's an investor, it's a real estate investor program. All 50 states within our ecosystem. So imagine this. Not only can we give you $200,000 at 0%, you can go buy out however many real estate properties you want as an investor and do it with other people's money with no doc required. No doc. One more time. No doc. No doc on the hybrid for the cash, and no doc on the real estate acquisition. No doc. As long as the property that you're buying can service the mortgage through its rental, we will approve you in-house. So yeah, we have a fee. How quickly is that fee realized? If you had access to all of it. It's a one-time fee, by the way. One-time fee. But how quickly is that realized? You buy a property for $300,000 and it goes up by 1%. You've recaptured that fee. If it goes up by 2%, you're buying drinks. Right? But that's how math works. See, people either get it or they're paralyzed thinking about rates and all the fees. And I bought 4 DSCR properties in the last 2 years. I paid almost in fees before we started including this. This is brand new, by the way. I was telling Kevin, this is for us to offer this to our clients is 1 week old. We have been negotiating with the banks for over 2 years to get them to do all 50 states. Now, you know I'm lying when I say all 50. It just sounds better. We don't do Alaska, we don't do Hawaii. But if I said 48, she wants to know which of the 2, right? So to move on, I'm just saying 50, right? But I paid $14,000, $18,000 in fees, mortgage fees. And I was happy to do it. You know why? Because the property only needed to move 1 or 2%, and it's all recaptured. And it's all a ledger anyway. It's all funny money. So let's not get caught up with the stuff. But there's a performance guarantee. You pay us this fee. Use our technology. My team calls you every week, sometimes too often, right? To try to help you out, to make sure you're on path to success. We guarantee that every business will receive corporate funding in our program. Guaranteed. And if we don't, we give you your money back. And you keep the work we've done. What's the downside? What's the downside? I mean, think about it, right? We've made bad decisions all day long. We spend more than that money. Some of you made a bad decision today that cost you that money. And if you think about it, you get to use our system and our staff and our technology for life. And if my team, as you can tell from Lisbeth, calls her 3, 4, 5 times a week, by the time she's done 2 years with us, it's almost like Vietnamese wages at that point. We're not talking Vietnamese Houston, we're talking Vietnamese Vietnam, right? It's like 12 cents an hour at that point. So, but what are you getting back? You're getting an in-house credit team that works for you. You're getting to stay focused on your business. He's an attorney. He wants to stay in that business and not stop every time he has to go get funding, because it's exhausting to get out of your lane. Does this make sense so far?
Yes.
Is this landing at all?
Yeah.
Who's excited that you're missing Game 6 of the NBA? Right? I mean, seriously, who really cares? Oklahoma or Indiana? Like, really? Right? People are more excited. The Lakers sold for $10 billion this morning. The Lakers sold for $10 billion this morning. When Jerry Buss bought the franchise for $76 million, everybody thought he was an idiot. Overpaid. He's a fool. He wanted his ego fed. You talk about legacy money at this point. I would hang a picture of Jerry Buss in my house if he would give me some money. Right? $10 billion.
That's
For
only a
men
portion
to
of it.
run back and forth and put a ball in a hoop. But that's what's happening. And we're here tonight missing that game because you're leaving with some special knowledge. Hope you recognize that. Jay just went, crap, there's a game on tonight? Yeah. So here's our promise. We guarantee success or your money back and you keep the work we've done. Why do I mean by that? I cannot undo the work we do once we start it. We set you up in the algorithms and all the accounts and everything else. I can't go undo that. You get to keep the work. So if we don't do our job, take your money back and keep the work. No premiums or rates. No more additional fees. What's the catch? Why no additional fees? How can we sustain ourselves as a business charging one time $3,000 for life doing all that work? Because the banks have no cost of acquisition for our clients. We found the client. I came to Houston, did this dog and pony show. Somebody in here decides, you know what, I'm going to use this guy. He's so good looking, right? Let's go ahead and sign up for his service. They gave us $3,000. I spent more than that on my staff holding his hand and wiping his butt for the next 2 years, giving him all the money he needs. So the bank has zero cost of acquisition. So when I take his business and place it with U.S. Bank, gift wrapped, U.S. Bank says, good job, Butch. Here's success fee for you. That's a fair deal, isn't it?
Yes.
Will I get paid a success fee if I don't bring you success?
No.
And if I can do something successful for you over and over and over again, are you okay that if we got paid?
Yes.
If it didn't cost you a penny?
Right.
Because there's no cost of acquisition fee in our process for the banks. That's like an awesome business model, isn't it? Right?
Yes.
So that's what we're doing, okay? So keep using our platform forever. So, what's the process? Set up an appointment. We'll tell you what to do next. Once you get enrolled in our system, there's no obligation to speak to any one of our teams to find out everything that I said tonight, if it's true or not. I'm a sales guy, so I BS all day long, right? So people get on my calls with my sales guys, they go, oh, Butch yesterday, he said this, this, and that. And they'll go, yeah, it's true. Oh, Butch yesterday, it sounds like he was making it up. He goes, well, sometimes he does, but this one's true. Right? So have that conversation with my staff. Say, hey, last night some really, really handsome dude came out to Houston and he said all these things. Tell me if it's true. And let my staff tell you if it's true or not. And then have them back it up, right? Establish some accounts. These are what we call footprints, verification, so we can separate EIN from SSN. Guess what happens after that? You get money! Over and over again. And then you just have to keep doing the right things. Pay your bills so we can keep giving you money, Because if you don't pay your bills, we stop giving you money, and then the Asian in me comes out and beats you, right? So pay your bills, we're good, and we'll keep giving you money. It's called being an adult. We're okay with that, okay? So this is it. This is it, right? This is what we do. I want you to do a couple of things tonight, even if you didn't like anything I said. People cared about you, that's why you're in this room. Thank Carl. Thank Kevin. Thank the Maldonados. Thank Carol, right? Because these people cared about you tonight. They missed the game too. She's away from her boys tonight. Lives an hour away in Houston traffic. They care about you. So find out if any of this is true. Don't sit here and not find out if it's true. Here's the skinny. Normally for these additional programs, the hybrid program to see if you qualify and get the funding, or the DCSR, we normally charge an additional fee for that above our $3,000. But for this group, because every time I speak to Kevin and every time I speak to Carl, they never ask me questions about their business. They only speak about the community, the team, and their friends, and the people they care about.
All right.
As often as they've called me, they've never asked me and said, what's in it for us? They've always said, hey, can we do this for so-and-so? Can we do this for so-and-so? So for this group only, you scan that code, it's going to allow you to set an appointment for a no obligation consultation.
Okay.
And if you let the people on the appointment know that you were in Houston on June 19th, Juneteenth, today, we have to learn something about Juneteenth, right? I mean, I watched a beautiful documentary last night on how Texas took 2.5 years to figure things out. And the rest of the world seemed to, we didn't have social media back then. Like, no one posted on Instagram, hey, you know, like, yeah. So you have to find out through the slow ways, but we did it eventually. But book an appointment, and they'll waive those additional fees and give you access to everything because you know these two guys, and these two guys, and that sweet lady back there. Don't drop my name, they'll just charge you more. Just say, hey, I know Kevin, or I know Carl, okay, I'll know the Maldonados, just don't mention Butch, right? But this is what happens, right? So that's what we're doing tonight, and you know, and that's it. That's all I can tell you.